After I had surgery, I hired a nurse recommended by our neighbor. She was sweet. Attentive. Too attentive. She called me darling. Kissed my forehead. I thought it was harmless, until my husband got locked out of our bedroom. She had changed the locks. When we fired her, she screamed, "I'm the one who nursed him back. He belongs to me now." When the police interviewed her, she pulled out a marriage certificate. Real seal. Real paperwork. Our names. Her as the witness. The date was the same day I was under anesthesia. I had back surgery in April last year. Not the minor kind, this was spinal fusion. The doctors at UNC Rex in Raleigh had to put in screws, realign part of my spine, and I was knocked out for hours. The pain after was nothing like I'd ever known. My whole body felt like a pile of bricks. They warned me I wouldn't be able to move much on my own for at least 6 weeks. Charlie, my husband of 9 years, was supportive at first. But we both knew he couldn't stay home 24/7. He worked at a car dealership on the south side of Raleigh, managing inventory and repairs. No remote option there. Our neighbor across the street, Mrs. Blevins, heard I was coming home from surgery and stopped by with a plate of cornbread and a suggestion. "You know," she said, "I have someone you could hire. Helped with my mother when she broke her hip. Wonderful lady. Very attentive." That's how I ended up meeting Marlene. She came to the house a few days after I got home. Petite, early 50s, kind face, soft brown curls pulled back. She wore those crisp white medical scrubs and had a calm, reassuring voice. Said she'd worked as a private nurse and companion aide for almost 20 years. Her references checked out, and Charlie liked her. "She's kind," he told me one night while we watched TV. "You're lucky to have someone that caring while I'm gone." It was true. Marlene was gentle and knew what she was doing. She made sure I had my meds on time. Cooked meals that didn't make me sick. Helped me bathe without ever making it awkward. She called me darling when I cried from the pain and would wipe my forehead like I was her own child. But then it started getting strange. I'd catch her standing in the hallway outside my bedroom, just watching me sleep. Once, I woke up and she was sitting next to the bed, not even pretending to adjust my blanket. She kissed my forehead when she helped me sit up. And lingered. That should have been a red flag. But when you're on painkillers and half-conscious most of the day, things blur together. Charlie didn't say much. I noticed he started coming home a little later than usual, but I figured he was picking up extra hours. Still, he always made time to peek into the room, check on me, and kiss me goodnight. Then one night, everything changed. Charlie came home around 6 p.m., went upstairs, and tried to open our bedroom door. It wouldn't budge. He knocked. I remember hearing his voice faintly through the door asking, "Babe? Did you lock the door?" I didn't answer right away because I was groggy. But when I did, I said no. I hadn't even gotten out of bed all day. He tried again. The key didn't work. Next thing I knew, I heard tools clanging. He came back with a screwdriver, unscrewed the handle, and forced the door open. When he did, his face went white. There was a brand new deadbolt drilled into the inside of the door. Fresh, shiny, and installed perfectly. I couldn't believe it. Marlene appeared in the hallway like she just finished folding towels. Calm as could be. "Oh, I put that in earlier," she said. "You need more rest, darling. Too many people barging in." Charlie looked at her like she had 3 heads. "Who told you to change the locks?" She smiled. "No one had to. I did what was right." I told Charlie. "Get her out. Now." She didn't go quietly. Marlene screamed. "I'm the one who nursed him back. He belongs to me now." Before storming out of the house, we called the police right away, but since there wasn't a physical threat, and she technically hadn't stolen anything, they didn't arrest her. They just escorted her off the property. I thought that was the end of it. 3 days later, we got a call from Detective Ramos, a fraud investigator with Wake County PD. He said, "We need to speak with you about a claim made by someone named Marlene." I froze. Charlie stood behind me, arms crossed, looking confused. "She's claiming to be your legal spouse," the detective said. "She provided documentation, including a valid marriage certificate." That's when I laughed. I thought it was a joke. But when we met with him in person, I stopped laughing. There it was, a legal, notarized marriage certificate. My name. Charlie's name. Filed at the Wake County Register's office. Dated April 14th, the day of my surgery. My signature was on it. But I hadn't signed anything. I was under general anesthesia. I looked at Charlie. He looked back at me. Quiet. Pale. His hands were shoved in his pockets. That's when I knew. He knew something. And I wasn't about to let it go. I didn't talk to Charlie that night. I went to bed and stared at the ceiling. My spine still hurt, but my heart was starting to hurt worse. I kept thinking, how did a nurse we hired for a few weeks end up with legal papers saying she married us? The next morning, I called Darla McGill. She was a lawyer I'd used once years back for a property matter. No nonsense, smart, didn't waste time with small talk. She came over that afternoon and looked at the documents the police gave us. This is real paper, she said, tapping the certificate. Real seal. Real clerk's signature. But your signature is fake. I asked her how it could have been filed without me being there. That's when she explained something I didn't know. There's a loophole in North Carolina marriage law. If someone brings in documentation that looks legit, like a notarized affidavit or fake power of attorney, they can sometimes slip things through if the clerk doesn't double-check it. That's when I remembered. I'd handed Marlene my wallet once, early on. She said she needed my insurance card for the pharmacy. She must have taken pictures of my ID then. Darla didn't waste time. We're filing fraud and identity theft charges, she said. This won't stand. But we also need to talk about your husband. I'd been avoiding that. Charlie kept acting confused, like all of this was a shock. But I started digging around while he was at work. He'd left his iPad unlocked. I went through his texts. Most were boring. But then I found the ones from She had sent him pictures. Of herself. Of my medication bottles. Of the ring she wanted. And the messages. I'll take care of her. You just be patient. Once she's out of the way, we'll be together. Do you still love me? You haven't said it in 2 days. Don't back out now. We've come too far. The last one was 2 days before she changed the locks. My hands were shaking. I took screenshots of everything. That night, I asked Charlie directly, how long have you been sleeping with her? He didn't answer at first. Just rubbed his face and sat down. Then he said, it was just once. Maybe twice. I don't know what happened. It got out of control. That was a lie. I knew it. He tried to turn it on me. You were always in pain. I didn't know how to help. She was here, and I was weak. I told him to sleep in the guest room. He didn't argue. The next day, I gave all the evidence to Darla. She took it to the police. They were already moving forward with charges against Marlene, but now they had proof that Charlie knew what she was doing, and didn't stop her. A week later, Marlene was arrested. But she didn't go down easy. She claimed she had voice recordings. Said Charlie asked her to fake the papers? That he promised to marry her legally if she helped him get access to my retirement accounts. That's when it hit me. I hadn't checked my finances. I logged into my retirement account. My stomach dropped. There had been 2 attempts to move money. One failed because of a signature mismatch. The other? Pending review. $15,000. Gone. I sat there in my bathrobe, barely able to breathe. This wasn't just betrayal. This was theft. I froze, staring at the withdrawal notice. I called the bank. They put me on hold, then connected me to someone in fraud prevention. She asked a few security questions, then said, yes, we flagged that transfer attempt. We were waiting for confirmation. I told her it was unauthorized. She said she'd cancel it, but added, we noticed the request came from a verified device on your account. That device? Charlie's iPad. He had used it to access my retirement portal. The system still had his IP address logged. I asked for a copy of the report, and emailed it straight to Darla. She called me 30 minutes later. This is enough. We can go after both of them. That same night, I heard Charlie talking on the phone in the garage. I crept up quietly and stood just outside the door. He was whispering. She's catching on. No, I haven't told her. Yeah, I know it's bad. I didn't think she'd go through my stuff. I recorded the whole thing. The next morning, I played it back for him. He looked like a deer in headlights. I told him to get out of the house. But it's my name on the mortgage. He tried. And the cops will be here soon, I said. So I'd run while you still can. He left. Took a duffel bag and slammed the door. I didn't cry. I felt nothing. I was running on rage and adrenaline. A week later, I got a call from a woman I didn't recognize. She said her name was Jolene. You don't know me, she said, but I think I can help you. I was cautious, but she insisted on meeting. We sat down at a cafe in Cary. She looked tired. Worn out. I used to date Charlie, she said. A few years before you. He did something similar to me. Turns out, Charlie had a history. Jolene showed me texts, emails, and court records. He'd once tried to co-sign a loan in her name. She only found out when the bills started coming. By then, he was gone. Disappeared with a few $1,000s and left her to pick up the pieces. "Watch your credit," she warned. "He knows how to fake signatures." I called the credit bureaus that night. Sure enough, there was a soft pull on my report from a lender I'd never heard of. He was trying to open a credit card using my info. That was the last straw. I handed everything, Jolene's records, the iPad logs, the bank notices, to the police and to Darla. Now they had a solid fraud case against both Charlie and Marlene. But the biggest twist hadn't hit yet. While reviewing the court records, Darla found something strange, a second marriage certificate. Filed months before mine. Between Charlie and Marlene. Only that one listed her as the bride. Filed under different addresses. Different witnesses. Charlie had married her first. And I wasn't legally married to him anymore. He'd annulled our marriage quietly 2 weeks before my surgery. Faked the paperwork, submitted it through a remote notary service, and never told me. It had been processed online. I didn't even know that was possible. My head spun. My entire marriage had been erased without me knowing. I had been living with a man who wasn't even my husband anymore. He divorced me behind my back, married Marlene using my identity as witness to it, and then tried to rob me blind. And now, it was time to bring the hammer down. Darla said it best. "This isn't just betrayal. It's a conspiracy. And you've got enough evidence to burn them both." So we did. We filed criminal complaints. Fraud. Identity theft. Big ones. I pressed charges on Charlie and Marlene both. The court ordered an audit of their finances. We found out Charlie had funneled over $12,000 from my accounts to a joint account he opened with her. They had rented a condo in Fayetteville. Already moved in. Planning a new life. The DA took our case to court in August. I sat there every day, staring straight ahead while they read the texts, showed the fake marriage papers, played the recording from the garage. Marlene wore a cream dress like she thought it would make her look innocent. Charlie looked like hell. Hollow eyes. Greasy hair. He tried to look sorry. When they read his signed confession, how he forged my name on the annulment, used her as the fake witness, and filed both marriage certificates without me ever knowing, I didn't look away. They were both sentenced to time. Marlene got 18 months. Charlie got 2 years for wire fraud and identity theft. And a court order barred him from ever contacting me again. But I wasn't done. I filed a civil suit. Sued Charlie for emotional damages and financial loss. Sued Marlene for identity theft and falsification of legal records. We settled out of court. I took everything. The house. His car. What little savings they had left. And then I did one last thing. I mailed Marlene a photo. It was from the day I left the hospital, the day she filed that fake marriage. In it I looked weak, pale, drugged. Barely able to hold my head up. I wrote 3 words on the back. I remember everything. Charlie had tried to replace me, erase me, and rob me. But I survived. Now he's sitting in a cell. And she's next door in the women's block. Me? I got back on my feet. I sold the house, moved up to Asheville, started fresh. Changed my name. Got stronger. Went to therapy. Every day I got better. The revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't flashy. But it was final. And it was mine.